Hello, welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals post-game show live here on Christmas Eve. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brack. We got the playmaker, Brittan Golden. This Christmas Eve edition of the Cardinals Sucking in Chicago is brought to you by our friends at the Arizona Lottery. Check them out now. Get your holiday scratchers. Still got time before Santa comes. Want to slip an Arizona stocking stuffer in? Check out Arizona Lottery. Check out the Redbirds today. Or better question, did they check out Brack when they got to Chicago? Because, man, that effort today, or lack thereof, that seemed like they got to Chicago to check a box. We played a game. We want to go home. We want to go back to sunny Phoenix.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because they had the opportunities, right? Their defense created some of those in the second half. They ended up holding the Bears on offense to 6 points in the second half before they were just gift-wrapped. That was their gift to Chicago. They gift-wrapped them just the game-sealing field goal. Down the stretch, the decisions made by Jonathan Gannon, and this show is very much in the corner of Jonathan Gannon as a head coach, a leader of men. But, man, as far as the decision to go for two as the Cardinals, near closer to the Bears at 24-16, I think that was the wrong decision. And then once they're deep in their own territory or backed up in their own territory, their own 27, they go for it on 4th and long and just hand the ball to Justin Fields in this Bears offense and say, hey, kick this thing away and put this game out of here. We're going to board the flight back to Phoenix and enjoy Christmas with our family on Monday morning.
It wasn't pretty. It like Johnny said, it just looked like they showed up because they had a game and they had no choice and were ready to go home. This is probably the worst the defense as a whole has looked all season. I mean, they got gashed in the run game. They let and Justin Fields threw the ball well today, which is wild, but it's like you let Justin Fields carve you up. We know he can run the ball. We know he's a very elite runner with the ball in his hands. But that first quarter, his tight end had 102 yards receiving. Yeah. You made him sit back. He had all day in the pocket. I mean, there was times I counted 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Justin Fields had the ball in his hand, and he wasn't under pressure. He was just waiting for somebody to get open. You can't win. You can't expect your defensive backfield, who we don't have the greatest one right now, understandable, but you can't expect a top-tier defensive backfield to be able to run with receivers for 8, 9, 10 seconds. It's impossible. There's going to be a penalty flag that comes out even if you don't have a completion there. That's too much to ask.
Should we, I picked the Cardinals to win this game. I thought they'd play much better. Should we be surprised, though? I spend my time, watching that, especially that first quarter. And I'm like, well, yeah, the Cardinals are going to struggle to move the football consistently because they have no playmakers. Outside of Greg Dortch, and Trey McBride, who had a number 1 corner on him. What does that say about the receiving core? As Bo mentioned on the halftime show, they don't have any receivers, so they have a broken passing game. Oh, they have a quarterback that's in a new offense coming off a torn ACL. He doesn't look comfortable. And then they have a front seven that I tweeted out. It's I'm not kidding when I say this. It's XFL quality front seven. Most of these guys on the Cardinals team this year that was actively maybe not trying to win games, they didn't spend in free agency, all those guys are gone. So you're at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. All those units are struggling today, even against, a middling team like the Bears, who are playing over 500 since week 4. Let's give them credit. They won today. But I feel like I'm sitting back and I'm just this is DJ Moore versus an undrafted free agent rookie corner. That's probably what it should look like. Paris Johnson Jr. struggling versus Montez Sweat. That doesn't surprise me. The Cardinals are in a position where, I think we've talked about it all season, Bo and Brittan. We needed clarity. You have clarity. You know who on this roster can make plays, can elevate you with more time, with more energy, the offseason with his coaching staff. And then, guys like, Rondell Moore and some of these defenders like Zaven Collins, probably not going to be part of your future, aren't getting better, disappearing late in games. I'm not I'm disappointed because they always disappoint me on a holiday game, but I'm not surprised what went down today. I still think Kyler Murray is infinitely better than Justin Fields. I think the statistics showed that today, but they got some big time areas to make this team better, Bo.
Yeah, this was a sobering. You were the sobering father at the Christmas dinner table. You were just stressing everybody down.
right now.
You're disappointing me. Get a job. You're going nowhere in your life. But look, I can't find any fiction in what you said there. And like we talk about, I said that the defense was able to hold this Bears offense to 6 points in the second half, but there was a drive where the Bears could have just completely put this game out of hand. And if Justin Fields gift wrapped the Arizona Cardinals a chance to get back into it, he left the door ajar because they were absolutely doing whatever they wanted, especially running football on that drive. And then 1st and 10, after picking up a crucial first down, Justin Fields throws the worst pass of the game right into the hands of Jalen Thompson. And the Arizona Cardinals, are able to then they capitalize on that at that point. But they had their chances, and unfortunately, it was just like the defense didn't like. The statistics will show that they played better in the second half, but there was still the inability at times, most times, to get off the football field and made some, especially without Cole Kmet out there, like. The Bears shouldn't be able to move.
They ran for 250 yards. I mean, that's where, and then they took the foot off the gas in the second half. That's what
Khalil Herbert looked like Christian McCaffrey at times, which shouldn't happen.
Justin Fields, they had so many opportunities to hit him in the backfield.
Yeah.
Scramble drill, you had him wrapped up. Lopez had him wrapped up a couple times, and then he turns. The one of them he turned into a 40-yard run. It's just. It was poor tackling. It was poor contain. We were terrible defensively with the contain today, and that started with the first Herbert touchdown run. Like Antonio Hamilton cannot dive inside as the defensive back like that.
Yeah,
inside the 10, you can't dive in there. You are the corner. You are the most outside person of the defense. There's nobody out there for you. The receiver was gone. You can't dive in there. You're not a safety. You're not a linebacker. You're not making a tackle in the middle of the field. Let's be real. You're a corner. Keep contained. Force that ball back inside to where the help is, and they might not even score a touchdown there. You might get 3 out of it. It's stupid mistakes, poor tackling defensively today, and just allowing a mediocre offense to just run it down your throat.
It was the battle of the mids. Like as far as the offenses go. The Chicago, I guess you want to tip the cap. They won the battle of the mid as far as offensive performances today, despite Justin Fields' best efforts to throw a brutal pick at the end of it. Chris Barnes, bless his heart, on that same play you were talking about, Antonio Hamilton, poor Chris Barnes, he's the 3rd string linebacker. He's filling in because Josh Woods went down last week. He's on IR. His season's done. And before that, Kazir White's, lost for the season. So they're pretty gutted at that position, but still, like, it's pretty simple. The call is what the call is, and the execution just isn't there. And I know that you're getting down the depth chart, but still, you got to expect better from a professional football team. To make and give them those opportunities on a 3rd down like that. It's 3rd and forever. That's what it was. And Justin Fields made a play. Arizona Cardinals had 2 defenders that couldn't.
Let's get some of these super chats. You guys are crushing it. Like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Let's get this video. Can I ask for 400 likes on a Christmas Eve as a Christmas present to your boy? Merv always cranking out the super chats left and right. Thank you so much, Merv. $9.99. Kyler Murray had an average of 2.1 seconds in the pocket today, the worst this season. Next gen stats. All 3 wide receivers had dimes thrown to them by K1 on crucial downs. All 84% catchable, all dropped. So Merv's busting out the big-time stats. We wouldn't expect anything less. I think you can say 2 things. Kyler Murray was pretty average today for his standards, and the wide receiving core continues to be, if not the worst in the NFL, show me a worse receiving core. Like, Michael Wilson went from catching fucking everything to he has like 4 or 5 targets a game. He can't catch a ball. Like, that one pass that Kyler Murray floated up to him, and I saw people on Twitter saying that was underthrown. No, he had a guy in his face. It was the exact same throw that Justin Fields threw to Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet came back and Justin cut the football. Michael Wilson had 2 hands on it. He dropped it. Rondale Moore dropped a pass. I mean, like, this receiving core, they're a victim of their own circumstances. Like, I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, should they have just kept DeAndre Hopkins? Like, what are we doing here? But then it's just like, no, they endured this on purpose. They said, we're comfortable with this group coming into this year. And We know Hollywood gets hurt. Look, he's not available in December. We know Rondell Moore is undersized. Look, he can't play outside receiver. We know Michael Wilson was hurt at Stanford. Look, he's missed time lately. Like, all of those facts were clear and present before the season. So, like, I think to expect something different now at the end of the year, like, where's this 400-yard passing game? And where are the five? It's just like, this is who you signed up to play with. And you were, I don't even know if they were hoping like guys would have buck trends and have career years. Like, no shit, this is bad. This is this is the receiving core that everybody was like, Jack, we're good.
Yeah.
This is what you get. You get what you pay for at the end of the day. And outside of a nice little run by Michael Wilson earlier this year, BG, this is receiving core has been an unmitigated disaster this year. It's been a disaster.
No, I agree. It's been to the point where you have nobody that wants to make a play. I mean, outside of Greg Dortch, he had the ball in his hands a few times this year, and he's made plays when the ball's in his hand. But you can't really say that about anybody else. We had the 2-game stretch out of Michael Wilson before he hurt his shoulder, San Francisco, and one before where he made catches and he made contested catches. And ever since he's been gone, and that, I mean, Hollywood just hadn't shown up all year. Hollywood is, we got to write that one off. That
Zero chance he's back.
We thought it was going to come out. Yeah, no, we thought it was going to be good. He's got his college quarterback. They got chemistry. That project failed. That's an F, a huge F. That one's done. You got to, but outside of that, I mean, we've had no production from the wide receiver core. There's been no contested catches, outside of a few from Dortch. But I mean, other than that, Trey McBride's your number 1 receiver. Greg Dortch is your number 2 receiver. Nobody else is there. I mean, Higgins has come on late. He's been catching the ball. He's been doing well, but I mean, there's no separation outside. There's no separation inside. Nobody can get open. It's man-on-man coverage, right? As a receiver in high school, you dream of this. High school, you're going to play me man-on-man? I'm winning. College, the NFL, if I'm playing football in the NFL, I got one-on-one coverage. This is the best it's ever going to get. One-on-one, it's literally me versus the guy across from me. And it's not like one-on-ones in practice where you got all day to run some bullshit route or the corner's just locked into you because you didn't have to worry about anything else. There's other shit going on. So he can't just lock in depending on what's going on. It's just get open. Push off. Dude, get a penalty. Offensive passer. I don't give a shit at this point. Make it look good. If you're not going to complete it, at least get an offensive pass defense for you. Make it look fun.
I love Merv, his comment. Thank you for super chat. Happy holidays. I mean, the next level analytics in there it paints a great story. I got some next level analytics. This is right here. This is an envelope. This is the amount of separation that Arizona Cardinals wide receivers were getting between them and their defender. That's it. This little sliver. Can you see that? That's what the defenders, the Bears. I mean, Jalen Johnson, who spent most of his time on Trey McBride. But I mean, then you got like Kyler Gordon and these other like unknowns, and the Arizona Cardinals can't get any separation, and that's big time concerning about Drew Petzing's offense. I mean, you can look at the players, but also I think that the scheme kind of fits into it as well. What's going on, because Cleveland does it at a really high level where Drew Petzing came from. Like, that's what we were excited about, Johnny, when Petzing was making the move from the Browns to the Cardinals, is they were top 5 and when their wide receivers and the amount of separation that they were able to get last season, we're just not seeing that. So I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned that the scheme also plays into this.
It's a player's league.
He kills me though. Like, the Petzing he's got to be on a hot seat. It's play call, it's situational play calling. It doesn't add up. Like, it's third long and there's this, it's third short.
I thought they would have been like, we know what our receiving core is and isn't. And today it's going to be the Pittsburgh game plan, all tight ends and running backs. And KR Gordon in the chat, $1.99 super chat saying Bears watched the tape on McBride. Petzing didn't adjust that. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Agreed.
I think there's truth to I'm guilty of this, but I host a podcast. I'm not the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. I think there was some truth to maybe the Cardinals thinking, well, the Bears really struggled against David Njoku, so Trey ought to be able to have a day. And it's just like, no, you got to be creative, man. Like, eventually the league was going to catch up to like Trey McBride. And how did you adjust? And like, Okay, their number one corner and their safety is on Trey McBride. Who can then we benefit from being open or from having one-on-one coverage? Well, in certain cases, it was Rondale Moore and Michael Wilson. They didn't make plays today. I mean, it's really going to be a fascinating case study because we're going to get to March. Is Rondale Moore going to be on this football team? I don't think any of us think Hollywood Brown, save for a really minimal deal, is going to be on this football team. And then how much of an urgency does this team have in free agency to add? Because, like, we're going to give updated draft standings. And I mean, if you're into the draft, it's good news today. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is very much alive for this franchise. But, like, do you need more than that? You might. You fucking might. Because Michael Wilson right now, is he a 2? No. Is he a 3? You hope. I mean, at times this year, he's been a high end 2. And I think, again, I said this on the pregame and halftime. Like, he needs an offseason with Kyler Murray. But that you cannot tap out at wide receiver in free agency. You have to participate in free. You have to bring in help. This is just not good enough. Whoever your quarterback is, and I'm still very much 99% certain Kyler Murray is going to be back. I'll play Justin Fields. He had better passer rating and more yards and more touchdowns than Justin Fields today. And Justin Fields has got all day to throw. It's 7-on-7 for Justin Fields. So we're going to talk more about that. Let's talk about our player of the game. We just mentioned it, BG. It's our boy, Greg Dortch, making a play. And, like, Greg Dortch, I love Greg Dortch. He's our X factor. Let's check him out. 2 catches, 45 yards, a touchdown. 2 things can be true. And I say this with all due respect. Greg Dortch needed more targets at the beginning of the year. If Greg Dortch is your number 1 receiver for this team at the end of December, like, what's going on, guys? What's happening? Like, that's what's going on. Greg Dortch is, I believe, a starting caliber wide receiver in the slot, shifty as hell. He's it right now. He's all you got. That's a problem, Bo. That's a big fucking problem.
Huge problem. I don't know how we absolutely just roast the wide receiver core and then make one our player of the game.
Well, because I love Greg, and he made a play.
Oh,
no doubt about
it. He's the only one that made a play receiver-wise, and it was a great play, and it's fun to watch Greg Dortch play the game because, like you said, Johnny, he went from very minimal snaps at the beginning of the season, and the end of the season has turned into, like you said, their only wide receiver that makes plays. He's the only one that makes plays. And he's the only one that made a huge play today.
Yeah.
I mean, offensively, outside of James Conner, who else are we talking about? Nothing. Every drive that succeeded was all James Conner. Like, at the end of the season, when we talk about team awards and however you want to do it, if people do that, James Conner is the MVP, offense, defense, special teams, and he only played on one side of the football. Because when James Conner was out the game and not getting the football in his hands, this team fucking sucks. They're awful. It's hard to watch. It's hard to root for. They're bad. So when you see somebody like Greg Dortch come out here and still, he had minimal receptions. He had 2 receptions, but he turned it into 45 yards and a touchdown that he had no business getting in the end zone with. I mean, even if he breaks that first tackle, I mean, come on. He had 2 guys right there, should have tackled him, and it just turned into, I said it earlier in our group chat, it's a punt return for him. You give Dortch open space with the football in his hands, and it's 4 guys out there, he's not getting tackled. He's too shifty, he's too quick, he's too good with the ball in his hands, and he proved it today.
Yeah, he's a cold-hearted man for what he did to those poor Bears defenders on Christmas, man. I mean, as you said, 3 guys between him and the end zone, put him on skates out there on Soldier Field. It was a great play, and that play in itself, I can see how it swung to the X factor. I look at the defensive box score. I like what I saw from Jalen Thompson. A little bit uneven if you combine. For the first half, he struggled a little bit, but 3 passes defense and the pick. 5 tackles. I thought JT played really well again. He set his single season career high in picks. Now he's got 4 on the season. So JT continues to play at a pretty decent clip for the Cardinals that struggled on both sides of the football. No doubt about it today.
I want to get to the super chat, and I do it with all due respect here. MP $1.99 super chat. This game proved Bears will draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Get help. Thank you for the $1.99.
I don't know, Johnny. I don't know, Johnny.
Get help.
I don't know
if you think that.
I don't know.
Justin Fields.
I mean, you got to hope Marvin Harrison doesn't take that $20 million offer to come back to Ohio State.
He's not doing that. Come on. All right,
I'd have accepted that
on Justin Fields. 15 to 27 with no pass rush, by the way.
None.
170 yards, 71 passer rating, touchdown, interception. He ran for 100 yards and a touchdown. We know Justin Fields can run.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody ask me today, like, you can't dispute Caleb Williams today is a better thrower of the football than Justin Fields. Now, Caleb Williams also resets your rookie clock. What does that dynamic look like? They're going to have to meet with him, all those factors. Like, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. If the Bears say, we're going to go all in with Justin Fields, and instead of taking Caleb Williams or even trading it out for, as our guy Adam Hogue from CHGO said, 3 firsts, 2 2s, a bounty, and you take a wide receiver, and you think that, like, the Cardinals should have been boat raced today by the opposing quarterback. What Brock Purdy did last week, and Justin Fields single-handedly kept them in the game today, MP. Like, put the pom-poms down. He's a fun player. He can run around. He's a great Madden player, right? You're going to have the number 1 overall pick in a blue-chip rich quarterback draft, and you're talking to me about Justin Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's going to take you from about 6 to 7 wins this year to, I don't know, maybe like 8 wins next year max. And then you got to pay Justin Fields. So good luck. If that's the plan for the Chicago Bears, let me tell you, it'd be very on brand for the Chicago Bears to say, we could potentially have the best quarterback in our division for the next 15 years. Let's just double and triple and quadruple down on a guy that just had 71 passer rating against the Cardinals XFL front 7. Let's do that, Brock.
Hey, I've seen the Bears front office make worse decisions, aka like number 2 overall with Mitch Trubisky. But it's just it's something that could happen. Like you said though, if it does happen, that's might be the dumbest. Well, I can't say the dumbest, but it is definitely a top 5 dumbest decision that a Bears front office has made. So.
You imagine? I mean, they got to figure out, like, if they keep him, how do they keep him? Do they extend him? Does he get his 5th-year option? Do they just, it's easy as just picking it up? Yeah, tag him. I mean,
they're still picking in the top 10.
I know.
Their own pick.
Right. Their own pick.
Oh, I
right?
know. It's to the point where you
say
it here.
Some juggernaut that's like, we're in the playoffs. We got.
And the next 2 weeks are going to be telling. Like, they've got Atlanta and they've got Green Bay, 2 very beatable teams. If Justin Fields runs the table, right? And then I think, in the Bears, obviously the Bears are playing very well. The defense is playing at a high level, but like in order to make his case, I think he still has to win, split at least the next 2 games.
Their winning percentage is .468. The Cardinals' strength of schedule is .564, and the Cardinals have 3 less wins, and they've had Kyler Murray for a month. Like, what are we doing here? We're going to get to these super chats and more, but first I want to tell everybody about our friends at Arizona Lottery. You love to see that. Holiday Scratchers, listen, the time is now. Go out, pick yourself up some Arizona Lottery Holiday Scratchers from our friends at Circle K. Check them out. Dab them in to your, loved one's stockings, because right now, Cardinals didn't win today, but you could be a big winner. Scratchers are just $1 single. Top prize is up to $500,000. Again, gift them to anybody, naughty or nice. I've been naughty. I'd love a few holiday scratchers. Go buy them today. Again, CircleK.com, or if you're a procrastinator, you want to order some, ArizonaLottery.com. I know a lot of people. It's like, I get some holiday money. Let's dabble. Let's have some fun. Arizona Lottery. You got to be 21 years and older to play.
I held out just to buy my holiday scratchers at the very last second, just because I could. I just knew that they were there. I was going to be able to just stop in at the local Circle K and make that purchase, and then make everybody's Christmas tomorrow. Putting them in their stockings. I'm going to throw them in the tree. I'm going to be Scratcher Lotto Claus tomorrow during Christmas with the Arizona Lottery. Thanks to our friends over there. Also, games like this, the OGs, they are very necessary, right? Your OGs are going to help you out on this Christmas Eve right now. If you haven't already, check out ogsbrands.com. Check out the downright delicious gift of OG's gummies this holiday season. Whether you're gifting to a friend or yourself, OG's is the ultimate holiday set hack for the mouth-watering cheer that you're looking for. It's not for, like, you could be the lightweight brand. You can get the mini OGs or the heavy-hitting RSO. They have something for everyone on your nice list. A variety of bold flavors. Check them out. ogsbrands.com. Follow them on your socials at ogsbrands. Check them out at your local dispensary. You got to be 21 years or older.
Let's get back to some of these super chats here. Free at Matter for the Blind, $5. So generous. PHNX Cars has made watching this team bearable this year. Thanks. Merry Christmas, Johnny Bo, BG, Saul Damon, and the entire PHNX crew. Thank you so much. Free Matter for the Blind. Times are tough. Like we see good stuff on the horizon, the light at the end of the tunnel. We thought we'd have a little bit more fun with Kyler Murray's return, and we've had some fun. But days like today, it's a tough sled to watch the Cardinals basically no-show in Chicago on a holiday with your loved ones. Merv back with a 499. Wide receiver sucked. K1 still finished with 208 yards passing, 38 rushing. Solid completion percentage, 95.5 QBR and 2 TDs. Best performance all season for Kyler. Again, like if you don't think the analytics matter to the Cardinals, that 2-point conversion was all about analytics. So then they will look at this performance by Kyler Murray, and if that's true, according to Merv, with QBR and everything else, it's like they're going to take all that into account. They see everything. The all-22 Bo, like you watched last week from San Francisco game. Guys aren't getting open. Like, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback from our couches and say, Kyler, that was a bad sack to take, or what are you doing with the football there? I am going to give the benefit of the doubt to the guy that went first overall, that went to the playoffs, that has carried this franchise. If people are going to want to hold water for Rondale Moore at 5'8", you go ahead and do that. That's not going to be my choice, though, because I've seen this guy operate at a high level when he's got competent pieces around him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough game to evaluate. The last couple games have been tough to evaluate just because of the lack of production from the wide receivers. And, you know, you do look at the all-22 and you see that the inability to get open. You saw, Montez Sweat in a Chicago Bears defensive front that was also wreaking havoc on the Arizona Cardinals today. So, and the inability to get the run game that they had against San Francisco the previous week. So it really is like the Arizona Cardinals are going to have to lean on every, I guess, statistic, analytic piece of tape where they can see the entire field to really make the proper decisions on this entire roster, including Kyler Murray. But, as we've maintained on this podcast and what we've seen and heard around this organization, this team seems pretty comfortable moving forward with Kyler Murray. And it would really shock, I think, everybody on this podcast if they decided to pivot off of him because of the struggles of Kyler Murray coming off of an ACL, learning a new offense on a team that, as you saw today, has started them, I think, and played like the third most players in the NFL due to, injuries and having to, like guys who couldn't compete. They had to churn this roster and continue to churn this roster. So, I think at least with the quarterback position, they feel comfortable with Kyler Murray, where you look at the rest of this roster, there isn't where do you feel comfort outside of the tight end position, maybe the right tackle position, and the safety position?
There's not a lot of comfort, period, outside of what you mentioned. I mean, offensive line is a major issue. Defensive line is a major issue. I mean, there's like I said, there's not really, outside of just a couple of positions on this entire team, that you're just like, we've got solid talent here that can help us win. So the draft for this team is going to be huge. And it's going to start with those first 2 picks they get in the first round. But the draft and free agency, finding veteran guys that have been good, that can find a way, that know how to win. You've got to find guys like that in free agency, and it can't be the back end of free agency. The Cardinals they've got a shit ton of money to spend. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of money because they did absolutely nothing in free agency last year. So once that window opens in March for free agency, they have got to come in with dollar signs. I know that's completely against everything Michael Bidwell stands for, but if he wants to see his franchise go back up to the 2015, 2014, to that era, if he wants to see his franchise back on top, where they can at least get a primetime game, one primetime game in a season, like, you're going to have to spend some money. You're going to have to bring in some talent. You're going to have to bring in some leaders, and you have to bring in guys that can help your franchise win. You're not going to survive off of just trying to do the bare minimum.
We're going to count some cards today. Maybe not Cardinals, but we're going to count some Cardinal benefits, maybe. Damon Dog, let's check it out here. A little off the beaten path because today was a horror show. Count some cards for this offseason. 12 draft picks. Yeah, sign me up for that. This is medicine here. Christmas that you got to wait for 6 more months. $80 million in cap space. Sign me up. Then they're also going to get a 4th place schedule. So if you're watching this team today, as BG, Bo, Brack, and I and everybody in the chat was, yeah, I'm not going to highlight the kind of ridiculous kind of subpar play today on counting cards. I thought, you know what? Let's double and triple down on what we know is coming. The draft picks, the money, and the schedule, Bo, Brack, all in the Cardinal favor.
Yeah, you're inside. It's just pouring rain right now, and there's no sunlight coming through those clouds just yet. But you know they're there, right? You know that you got these aces up your sleeve, and that it's just like with the Gannon thing today. It was unfortunate, he made the moves that he did. Right? You're hoping for when the sunny days come and the chances to win football games that he's going to make better decisions than to go for it. And like this is a 3-win team right now. I mean,
yeah,
I can you can kind of persuade me and say, hey, what do we have to lose going for 2 in that moment? We still got to put up more points to even tie the game. But I thought it was the wrong decision. But it's going to be interesting to see what Jonathan Gannon looks like when the expectations are there to win football games. And the same goes for Monty Ossenfort as far as being a general manager. Like we know what Monty Ossenfort looks like when he's tearing down a roster and accumulating assets. He's good at that part of being a GM, but there's more to it. And we're going to see what he can do with those 12 draft picks. The as far as the salary cap dollars, they fluctuate. It's really going to be dependent on, what the actual salary cap is in the 2024 offseason. But the Arizona Cardinals are going to have anywhere from, 50 to 70. And if they make some easy, cuts, it can get as high as 80. So they're going to have every opportunity to improve this roster. And boy, do they need it. I had some people in my mentions today and say, man, I'm concerned that there's so many holes on this roster that it's going to be even tough to get it up to where it's competing and having the ability to win each and every week and contend for, 9 wins, 10 wins. And I can see that, but it's going to take some, if you upgraded some premium positions and you get healthier, I think this roster looks completely different. Like we are in the stretch right now, and it started before this, but 2 more games where we're watching the final days of a lot of guys playing and wearing red and white for this Arizona Cardinals team.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's going to look a lot different next year, whether people want to see it or not, which I'm sure everybody's fan base is okay with seeing a lot of different faces, especially if it's going to mean wins and better football play in the column. But regardless, the team that we're looking at this year is not going to look remotely close to what it looks like next year. So it's, if some of your favorite players are in that category, you got 2 weeks. Watch them as much as you can.
Get those discounted jerseys in about 2 weeks' time. The slash in those holiday prices. Alex, $4.99. He's got 2 super chats. I'm going to read them both. Was too busy crying over this damn game. How did Owen Pampo look in his first significant snaps defensively? He got run over the time I saw him out there. Didn't look great. But again, like he's taking on a couple big time running backs for Chicago, big in the physical sense. And Cardinals D-line, man. I don't care if you got Ray Lewis playing linebacker, Brian Urlacher, like the Cardinals D-line is legitimately depleted, slow, atrocious. I mean, it's bad. So Papo, he's going to have his day, and he'll get his flowers eventually. But that was, you can't evaluate anybody right now. Alex, $4.99 again. James had the most receiving yards today. That says something. Absolutely does. You think about the landscape of this receiving corps. It's like Kyler Murray has no. Whether you want to blame Kyler Murray or not, that's up to you. He has no confidence in his receivers. So he's just like, I'm going to continue to check it down to James Conner. And, when you go through a drive where you have 3 straight drops by your receiving core early in the game, you're going to default. And you're going to.
When was the last time we had a receiver that led?
It's been a while.
I mean, it's either been Trey McBride or a running back.
Yeah. I put out a stat, gentlemen, like a week ago. The Cardinals were averaging about 100 to 102 yards per game from the receiving core as a unit this year. That has to have gone down by now. That's probably in the landscape of like 90 yards now.
See, Dortch had 45, Moore had 30, so that's 75. And then you got another goose egg from Michael Wilson.
That's it. 75.
Yeah, that's it.
So 75 receiving yards from receivers.
Yeah.
Against the Bears secondary, they got lit up by Joe Flacco. They took deep shots, and Cardinals have no big playability. Like the Dortch play is an anomaly, and that was him doing that on his own. Like,
oh yeah, that was just a little over route or an out route. So it was just a little 10, 12-yard route that he just turned into a punt return, as I said before.
This is a good super chat.
The Bears had it worse, though. The Bears had it worse with DJ Moore's injury. He had 18, and then the next closest wide receiver was Mooney, who had 5 yards receiving.
Yeah, but like they had open receivers because the Cardinals have. I mean, they're
well, that and Justin Fields stood back there for 10 minutes every time.
Yeah.
All right, Peter, $20 super chat. Love this.
Oh, thanks,
Long-time viewer. Really enjoy the show. Thank you so much, Peter. $20. Super generous. Keep up the good work, and happy Christmas from Scotland. Happy Christmas to you, Peter. Have a couple kilt lifters on me. Excellent beer. It is an excellent beer. 4 Peaks, the brewery of PHNX, PHNX Cardinals. Again, I think today was a microcosm of the season. Some highlights, but for the most part, really frustrating. Frustrating to watch as this team it's a slog right now. And after last year, I see somebody in the chat earlier saying last year's team was better than this team. Well, last year's team had more talent. DeAndre Hopkins was a member of this team. You had Kyler Murray for most of the season. Like you had J.J. Watt, like Zach Allen, Byron Murphy. Like you had better players, and you still only won 4 games. So I think just this was always going to be the toughest part of this rebuild, Bo. When you look at the fact that as the season progressed, you had rookies and young players getting better, like Trey McBride and Paris, but like you knew injuries were going to take its toll. And if you got to the bottom of the barrel at some of these key positions like wide receiver and defensive line, you were screwed. And that's what's happened. That's basically what's happened. They have only gotten worse at those positions since week 1 against the Commanders.
It's unfortunate, and it's a tough watch because of that. It wasn't going to be a great one anyway, but this entire season was basically finding out, okay, who's moving forward with us? Like, who can we take from the previous regime? Who did we hit on in the offseason as far as our own players, and especially the draft picks, the 13 rookies that they have on the roster, and who's worthy of coming and bringing back and OTAs and renegotiating deals with this offseason? Or, are we going to put our fully integrated scouting department to work to find players across the league and of course in the college ranks to revamp this roster? And that's what's been happening. And you can start to see, where the glaring holes are that they either need to fill or upgrade significantly just to be competitive again. So it was really never like, like I like this guy, he's going to fit in this position well. It's like, okay, I think this guy's got something. Let's see what he's about. And, you'll see the uneven performances and see, okay, can he turn into a consistent player? And if he doesn't, they have an easy time cutting bait if they need to.
Well, I can cut bait on my bet today with our friends at BetMGM. Went over today. Put a pretty penny on what I thought were 3 locks of a bet. None came to fruition.
Going for 2 was a dagger, man.
That was rough.
I didn't like that go for 2 call at all. I mean, you're down 14, right? There's 8 minutes left in the game. Kick the fucking extra point, man. Come on.
Killed momentum too.
I mean, now you're down. Now if you do find a way to score, at worst you go to overtime. It's not a loss. If you want to go for 2 at the end of the game, because 1, you've got 3 wins. Okay. If you want to go for 2 at the end of the game when you score a touchdown, you don't get it and you lose, cool. I'm okay with that. Because nobody really wants to watch fucking overtime and 2 awful football teams right now anyway. Just keep the overtime out. If you go for 2 there and don't get it, cool. But at least you have an opportunity to win a game. Not now you went for 2 when you didn't have to. And then if you score at the end, you have to go for 2 so we can watch another horrible 10 minutes of football. Hey, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Don't do that. Do use the bonus code PHNX when you're dabbling with our friends at BetMGM. The $1,500 first bet offer. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on your iOS or Android device, or check them out at BetMGM.com. I hope you guys fared better than your boy today with the $10 deposit minimum, $1,500 back. If your bet loses, your bonus bets are going to be available once your initial wage is settled. Sign up, bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
It was our guy Peter pointing out how delicious the flagship beer over at Four Peaks Kilt Lifter is. You can bet your sweet ass that I'm going to have a couple Kilt Lifters and a couple Four Peaks beers tonight to celebrate, of course, Christmas tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Headed to a holiday party after this, and I'm under my arm. I'm going to have myself a pair of Sixers of Four Peaks and their best beer. I like the Wow Wheat. It's delicious. It's number one wheat beer in the state of Arizona. Of course, Four Peaks has been in our great state for now 26 years, going into their 26 years, and it's tailgates down, kilt up. Win or lose, we booze with Kilt Lifter and the delicious selection of beer from Four Peaks. Check them out for yourself, 8th Street in Tempe. They've got the brewery right there, 8th Street, and you can go to enjoy a delicious meal. Of course, they've got appetizers, entrees, and desserts that you can pair with all of their incredible beers that they brewed on location. Don't miss out. Visit them online, fourpeaks.com/locator. You can find out where your favorite brewery tours are and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew and Four Peaks Pub on your socials. Got to be 21 years or older to dabble in the beer. And we ask that you please drink responsibly.
We're going to be responsible right now. We're going to talk about some numbies, some by the numbers here. Brought to you by our friends at Desert Financial Credit Unions. You know the final score, it's ugly. This is even worse. You give up 420 to Luke Getsy and the fraudulent Chicago Bears. Barf. The Cardinals' staple rushing game. It was on track in the first half. Second half, Bears loaded up, and Cardinals didn't have an option. And gentlemen, tell me if you've heard this before. Cardinals lose the game, win the turnover battle. I feel like that's happened damn near every week this year. And 2 sacks to 1. Dennis Gardeck, BG's boy, getting one kind of cheapy sack. Justin Fields run out of bounds.
Hey, we don't care. Sack for sack, baby.
That's right. We'll get hopefully get Dennis.
Go Dennis.
That's right. Congrats, Dennis. Congrats to the Cardinals, who were thoroughly outplayed by Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus in Chicago in a game where they looked like they literally, Bo, would rather be anywhere else.
Yeah, that's right. It's in the first half, they had one drive. They had one drive that they went 9 plays, 75 yards and found the end zone. But outside of that, it was sleepwalking, right?
Yeah.
It was, I don't know where they were. Maybe it was like A Wonderful Life was playing on, and we had no clue what was going on with the actual team on the field. And then the second half, they had their opportunity. They come out of the gates, and Greg Dortch has a big kick return to start, right? And then James Conner has a big run. And then they just pull the ripcord in the parachute on that drive and end up kicking a field goal at that point. And It was it seemed like another gigantic missed opportunity. And then Cardinals force another punt from the Bears and just can't cash in. And it just was missed opportunity. And it was just uninspired play, uninspired as far as, when I say coaching, making the correct decision to benefit the team at the time. Because I don't think that anybody can say that this coach was uninspired at any point, but it was misdirected for sure at the end of the game as far as what they wanted to achieve and how they were going to get there with the 2-point conversion, calling punting or not punting it with 27 on your own 27-yard line. So yeah, it was a tough one today for Cardinals and their fan base, who are enduring just one of the most brutal rebuilds a fan base can endure. No doubt about it. Like this was a teardown, and this is the product of that.
MP, we appreciate the super chats. Absolutely. I will fight you teeth and nail on this. So let's start with 499. Justin Fields was missing his top 2 weapons, still counted for 300 yards. Like, I'll give credit for Justin Fields for making plays with his feet today with no DJ Moore compromise and Cole Kmet leaving the game. Absolutely. But again, this next comment, 499, Bears will trade back Patriots and take Marvin Harrison Jr. Fields is not the problem. It's our coaching. Our top 2 weapons got hurt in the game. if the Bears replace Matt Eberflus, which I think most of us assume it's probably going to happen via our guy Adam Hogue, in what world does a first-round quarterback, get 3 chances with 3 different head coaches? If I'm a head coach, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, if I'm Ben Johnson, if I'm, Bumblefuck Johnny, like, I'm going to get my quarterback. I'm not going to saddle myself to Justin Fields. Like, can we be serious for a second? He had a 71 passer rating today. He was the only reason that the Bears, it was a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter, with his arm, not his feet, but like the Bears could have won, BG, the Navy offense, the wing T offense, and they could have put up 30 points on the Cardinals today. Like,
No.
please do not use the Cardinals defense as a barometer other than saying, hey, unless you have 5 fucking touchdowns against the Cardinals, it's probably not a good day for you. Like, Brock Purdy had 20 seconds to throw last week. Justin Fields today had 30 seconds to throw. It was like 7-on-7, and he had a 70 passer rating. Let's be real.
That's my thing is don't sit here and say, like, I mean, DJ Moore came back in the game and he made a couple of crucial catches, but that interception in the end zone, I mean, it's a short one. You're only 20 yards out, 25 yards out, and you threw it that short. I mean, what would you say his pass rating was? 70 against a secondary that has just been abysmal all season long. Like, if our offense, when I was a Cardinal, played a secondary that looked like this, with a Larry Fitzgerald out there and a Michael Floyd out there and a John Brown out there, like, we'd have had 3 receivers over 150 yards. No, you can't sit here and say that Justin Fields is the answer to your problems right now because he beat the Cardinals. Like, that is just a terrible take. I don't care if you give me $500,
but he's
not
not
the answer. He is definitely not the answer. He will, if he is the head, or if he's the starting quarterback for the Bears next season, all power to your organization, but, have fun with another, 8-8, whatever it is at best, and you'll be sitting at home watching the playoffs again. Like, as much as we bag on on old buddy in USC, Caleb Williams, and how soft he is and this and that, like, he gives you a better opportunity to win football games through the air than Justin Fields does. If Justin Fields doesn't run for 100 yards, you have no offense.
No.
They're going to have a very serious conversation this offseason. Whoever the decision makers are, like, they can move forward with the status quo. Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus and Getsy can remain the OC. If they make those decisions, they're still going to have a serious conversation about Justin Fields because of where the Carolina Panthers are going to put them atop the draft. Like, like, all 32 teams have that conversation because Caleb Williams has been tabbed that big of a prospect, right? And like, when you finish that, especially to Johnny's point, where their own pick still remains in the top 10, like, you have that conversation, and at really no point, or if anybody brings this up in the conversation, well, look at how he played against the Cardinals. That person should be escorted out of the meeting room, like, because, like, he should have performed against the Cardinals. He should have performed a lot better against the Cardinals. Like, this was not a make or break performance for Justin. It could have broken him if he was worse. But
I don't think he helped himself today.
I don't either.
He didn't do anything that elevated himself in the game of being a starting quarterback. Like,
no,
it doesn't really matter what he did. He ran the ball well. He's been running the ball well his entire NFL career. But you're a quarterback in the NFL. If you can't beat somebody through the air, you can't play quarterback in the NFL. You can, but it's just you're not going to be. You can't be a franchise quarterback rushing for 100 yards and throwing for 170 when 100 of it.
His rookie deal is over next year.
Done. You're not paying him $200 million. You're not paying. Yeah, there's no way Justin Fields is getting a contract for $100 million. But what have you shown me that tells me I want to lock you in for 5+ years for $100, $200+ million? Like, what can you do for my offense other than run the football? We got running backs for that. We got people that run the football.
Yeah, we don't mean my quarterback having 10 carries for 100 yards. That's not sustainable. Like, even when Lamar does it, his passer rating, 120, multiple touchdowns. He just doesn't have the robust passing yards, but I like Justin Fields. This, again, the Bears fans are going to turn me against Justin Fields. I don't want to do that. I think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. You cannot pass up, and they won't. They won't. They're not going to pass on Caleb Williams to keep Justin Fields. Let's rejoin reality here. They're going to have the first overall pick, and they're going to take the best quarterback prospect of the last half decade. They're probably going to fire everybody, and the Bears are going to be better for it. Congratulations, MP. But you're in quarterback purgatory where it's like, let's be 7-10 every year. No, you're going to get fucking beat, especially like the argument where a lot of the fan base here is, well, Kyler Murray, you can't pay him $52 million, but we like him. That could be your reality here in about a couple of years. You like Justin Fields, but you don't want to pay him. So it's fascinating. The Bears and the Cardinals being top three and kind of competing against each other. But the difference is the Bears have weapons. They have DJ Moore. They have capable backs. They have Cole Kmet. You have a first-round tackle. Your other tackle's good. Your problem is your quarterback. Like the Cardinals have a lot of problems. They have no wide receivers. They have no capable wide receivers. Let's check out where they could get a wide receiver. Let's check out the Texans tracker here as it relates to Monty Ossenford. Look at that handsome man. Hey, man, I'll take a loss every other week. Texans 8-7 now. The only problem is, Bo, Houston is in the running for the AFC South because nobody, Jacksonville, of course, Tennessee, and now, the Colts, nobody wants to run away with it. Looks pretty solid. I mean, the only way this gets torpedoed is if I think the Texans somehow make the playoffs as the winner of the AFC South. We need somebody get their act together in that division, please.
Yeah, we need somebody to wake up. Jacksonville, please. Colts, who dropped a bad game today. Houston just continues to be in the mix at 8-7. I can't believe we're here anyway. I mean,
NFC South is the exact same. They're 8-7 with the leading team. So, but unless CJ Stroud comes back, I just don't think there's any hope.
He could come back, and they should be able to beat Tennessee regardless. Especially, Tennessee played tough against Seattle today. Maybe Tannehill wants to prove people that he can go be a backup somewhere. But man, I would hate for him to finish at 9-8.
I think the Colts get him in the last week of the season. I think if that, I want to say that game is in Indianapolis. The problem with them winning the division, which I did not anticipate because Jacksonville just vomiting all over themselves, is then they basically springboard from the mid-teens, which is where it will be regardless, to like early 20s, which is tough. Maybe we'll see. We'll see if CJ wasn't clear to practice these last 2 weeks like that, and we're not rooting for injury here, but that's got to be pretty serious. I'm serious about this draft order, gentlemen. As of this program right now, the Arizona Cardinals no longer pick 3. They're picking 2. That's pending the Patriots game. Let's check out the draft order after the early and late games here in week 6. Of course, some reason the Patriots and Broncos are playing the Sunday night game. Good hell. But right now, the Cardinals have the 2nd overall pick. If the Patriots lose to the Broncos, they will go back to where they belong at pick 3. The Commanders ripped our hearts out earlier today by taking the lead, then subsequently surrendering it, gentlemen. However, the Cardinals go on the road to Philadelphia next week.
The Commanders won, didn't they?
No, the Jets won.
No, the Jets came back and won.
What?
Yeah.
They did?
Yes,
yeah,
they did. Yes.
Jets went down and kicked a field goal as time expired.
Trevor Siemian did.
He did exactly what I
how
said.
dare you? Are you just messing with all of us? Come on. That hurts me. That hurts my feelings. So anyway, Commanders, they play the Cowboys and the Niners the next 2 weeks. So Commanders are not moving up. Or moving down, I should say. They could move up.
Cardinals aren't winning another game this year, though. Can we safely say that?
You don't think there's a chance they beat the Seattle Seahawks in week 18? We have the Eagles and the Seahawks.
Seahawks have to win, don't they?
The Seahawks have to win. I think
Seattle
they got to win out to get in.
Yep.
They got to win out to get in. And it's here. It's here in Phoenix, and we really over the last 8-10 years don't have a good track record of beating the Seahawks at our place. Now beating them there is a different story, but beating them here, It doesn't look good. And, I mean, with what we saw today, that's not going to get it done against Seattle.
So if you lose out, gentlemen, like how
Who's
much
covering DK? My God.
let's
That's
just
exactly
play
what I'm saying.
hypothetical.
Who's covering Tyler Lockett or Smith and
They're
Jigba?
not gonna slow down any of those running backs.
They're number 3 receivers uncoverable in our secondary.
Jake Bobo out there just
Bobo,
making.
hey, listen, Johnny had bad things to say about Bobo first go around, and Bobo torched us. Now you
Bobo's
talk about
kids,
we
yeah,
got even
it's
worse.
tough.
Bobo might have 300. He might break the all single game receiver record.
All right, so you're everybody on this podcast is in agreement. Cardinals are losing out. Is that a huge indictment on Kyler Murray, or are you seeing enough from Kyler Murray, the passing yards, kind of notwithstanding, no turnovers today, passer rating of 90 plus? People are out with pitchforks saying you got to move off of him. Are you guys still in the position where like Kyler Murray didn't hurt himself today, may not have helped himself exponentially, but like maybe Bo, victim of circumstances to some degree? Like, how do you assess Kyler Murray today and then into these next 2 games, knowing that the Cardinals are probably going to lose these next 2 games?
I mean, the performance are going to be key still. Each and every performance is big for Kyler Murray, learning this new offense. I don't think I don't think it's unfair to say I'm disappointed so far. Like I'm still expecting to see somewhat of a breakout performance, and just haven't seen it. Right, we just haven't seen him get into the zone where he's dealing and he's hitting on a bunch of passes and really finding his rhythm. I think he finished the first half like 8 for his last 10, but still we haven't seen him really since his debut come out and really light the world on fire. And I think that you want at least 1 or 2 of those performances before the end of the season to say, okay, he still got it. And to really kind of put to bed the conversation that was there last season, because last season at that point was the one time you saw kind of his development stunt a little bit. And it's unfortunate that you couldn't do that. I don't think you can just say without a reasonable doubt, like, hey, he's legit going to be back, because I don't think he's shown you anything to prove that. I mean, you can still remain optimistic and also look at all the facts that are in the variables that play into this, as far as his ACL injury and the roster that he inherited when he came back, and just the uphill climb he immediately got into in week 10. But still, like, I think that he had the ability and has the opportunity to kind of silence some chatter out there, and just hasn't done it with his play yet. And it doesn't mean that, hey, get him out of here on the next plane out of Phoenix, and he still remains, I think, your best option moving forward, but still hasn't been able to silence those critics, and now only has 2 games left on the season to do so.
No, I agree. He didn't help himself. He didn't do anything to help himself today, but he definitely didn't do anything to hurt himself. I mean, there was a couple passes that sailed on him. I get that, but there's a couple passes that sail on everybody in the NFL, and that's not making excuses for him. But he didn't lose you the game, right? Yeah. And I mean, if it was to the point where he was losing you games, then yes, move on, get rid of the cap hit, whatever you got to do. But I don't think, like you said, he hasn't hit us with the wow factor yet, which I just don't think he's comfortable in this offense to where he feels like he can just sit back, because he can't, honestly. He can't sit back there, wait for something to develop, and let it fly. Because even if he's in the gun, he gets the ball in his hands, and it's like, make a decision or get out of the pocket and go somewhere else. Try to not get tackled, try not to get sacked, and then try to make something happen. And he just hasn't had the comfortability factor that we've seen in the past when he can sit back there and throw for 350, 400 yards, because we've seen it. We saw it 2-3 years ago. We've seen it happen since he's been in the league. I don't think he's comfortable enough with an offensive line in front of him and receivers on the outside to where he thinks he doesn't have somebody on the outside that he can say, that guy's going to win. Right? There's nobody like for the Buffalo Bills, Hail Murray play. Right? We have nobody on this offense that can do what D-Hop did and go up there. And Kyler's not throwing that ball up there to anybody in this offense. Right now, there's no chance that he would sit back there and be like, I have nowhere to go. I'm going to just throw this thing up and hope and know that I got a number one guy down there that's at least going to make a play on it. If he doesn't catch it, he'll bat it down. We don't have that guy. So I feel like there's zero comfortability for him in the pocket, even outside of the pocket, trying to stretch it, because you can see what happens. As soon as he feels uncomfortable, it's where's my running back, where's my tight end? Even if they're on the opposite side of the field of where he's running to, he's looking for a tight end or a running back because he knows he has no help. So the comfortability factor is what's hurting him in making these big. And it has to do with that play calling, him just, not ready to throw, not being ready to throw, his mind is not there. And that goes back to that comfortability part, right? He doesn't feel comfortable enough to let the ball fly, from what I'm seeing.
Let's get back to some of these super chats. Free matter for the blind, $5. Do the players need another year in Petzine's offense or rip the Band-Aid, hire a new OC? They're going to give Petzine another year. I've got that source 100%. He's not getting fired. Who are you going to get to take this job if you fire a guy who didn't have his quarterback till November? I think Gannon's got a lot of friends around the NFL who coach offense. And I think if we're in the same position next year, first of all, God help us, but they'll have options. But I mean, Drew just put up 29 points and over 400 yards against San Francisco. Like, I think you're getting inconsistent performances because of the state of the roster. But I'm optimistic. I think he can. Listen, he's really helped Trey McBride. The run game for the most part has been fantastic. We go back to this every week. The receivers are just not good enough. Thomas, $5 holds everyone on this roster. Where do you even start? You start with, you open the checkbook and you go through the roster and say, is there a guy on the free agent market that's better than what we have? Does it make sense from an age perspective? Does it make sense culture-wise? Does it make sense in terms of like bringing him in and his ability to connect with the roster? Like, that's where I would start, Bo. I would say, okay, does T. Higgins want to play here? Is T. Higgins available? How much is T. Higgins going to cost? Does his brand fit with what we want to do? And then just go through piece by piece, line by line. I would go through relationships that Austin Ford, Gannon, Petzine, everybody's made throughout the NFL, like they did with Yelder Froldholt, like they did with Kazir White. And then in the draft, I mean, I still think the play is if you don't get Marvin, you take one of the two tackles. It will be interesting to see if a defensive lineman forces the issue because that unit is just egregious, Bo. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you had Justin Fields clowning him in his press conference, and Josh Weinfuss tweeted it out today. It was Justin Fields saying during his post game, Justin Fields wasn't concerned about the Cardinals' defensive line because they aren't fast, he said. He told his offensive lineman not to hold, and if the Cards' D-line got through, it was okay because they couldn't catch him.
I mean, he was right. He was right. The Cardinals D-line, it literally looked like
no lies told.
It's like Peyton Manning in that SNL skit where he's running around with a bunch of kids. That's what it looked like with Justin Fields, like stiff arm and a bunch of toddlers.
But like as far as all the holes that they have to fill, obviously you look to premium positions, right? And they have a bunch of them as far as on the pass rush and in the I see Jalen Johnson here in the chat, absolutely right. The corners and of course the wide receiver room, and it's really going to be contingent on who's available. Like who are other teams going to gamble on letting their players hit the open market? And Monty Osfort needs to be ready to be able to write some fat checks at some premium positions. Like you don't go write a fat check for a left guard. Like I think you could still draft and develop that position to where if you're going to throw money at it, throw it at a premium position on a guy who's entering his prime year and start to build the defense, rebuild the defense. Like Johnny, if you're faced with looking at how bad this wide receiver core is and this cornerback, these outside corners, who you like, and you've got like a Jalen Johnson or T. Higgins, who you paying? You can't pay both.
I'm paying after today and what I've seen most this year. I mean, you have to score to win the NFL. And as much as I like Jalen Johnson, I'm paying T. Higgins. And because I have more confidence in Jonathan Gannon being able to take a mid-rounder and some guys some veterans around the league and kind of piece it together. When you can't have a semblance of a passing game, you're screwed as an organization. Go ask the Jets how that's working out. You've got Sauce Gardner. They can't throw the football downfield. Today notwithstanding, I think receiver has leapfrog cornerback as a premium position. Now, I think
corner you could win the game.
I think corner.
In a different way.
I think you got to go corner because receiver-wise, you can find, there's plenty of receivers in this draft too.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of guys in this draft that can make plays at the receiver spot. There's going to be plenty of receivers that hit the free agent market that you can go after. I understand that aren't going to command $20 million a year. There's going to be lots of guys that are number 2 somewhere that can come in, and their number 2 somewhere else is easily. I mean, shit, there's number 3s on other teams that are number 1s here right now. So I think corner has been a problem because our defense there's games this year defense has kept us in it, but we can't stop anybody on the outside. You've got to find some way to find somebody outside. You got to pay them whatever price that they want, especially if it's a top tier guy that's hitting the market, and you've got to get them here. You've got to get somebody that can be that lockdown corner, because honestly, the Cardinals have not had a number 1 corner since prime Patrick Peterson. I mean, Byron Murphy was good. Don't get me wrong. But we weren't at when he went outside. Byron Murphy was lock him down, whatever you want in that slot position. But outside, he wasn't that guy that was going to go out there and be, hey, we know we got Byron Murphy on their number 1. He's not going to stop. He's good. He's really good, and he's played a really good season this year in Minnesota. But the Cardinals have lacked a number 1 corner, a game-changing corner since prime Patrick Peterson was here. And that's my hot take. You can roast me in the comments or not, but I mean, it's 2013, 14, 15, 16. Patrick Peterson was the best man coverage corner in the NFL. And you can throw stats all you want to me, but there's nobody that was better than him in those years as a true man cover corner, and they've lacked it since he's been gone.
We're going to get back to some of these super chats here. Before we do, let's talk to you about our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals for more than 84 years. Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated in creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make life better. And again, if you're an Arizona sports fan, no better place to do it. Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Look for Desert Financial to hook you up. Checking, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Show your team spirit. Open up a free checking account. I did. Takes a mere matter of minutes. Get your debit card in the mail in the next couple of days. And that Arizona debit card goes hard. Visit desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started, Bo.
2 more games left on the schedule for the Arizona Cardinals. 2 more live events with this podcast. Johnny Venerable, Brittan Golden, myself, Bo Brack. 1 more out at the BetMGM Sportsbook next week. And then the week after that, it's going to be our final event. You're not going to want to miss this one, the Gila Rivers Resort and Casinos. We love our time that we spend out there. Have a great time watching Cardinals home games. Nobody does it better up there in the swing suite, having a blast, watching all the games on the TV, playing all the games. They've got their state-of-the-art gaming floor, has over 800 slot machines, 15 blackjack tables, live table games, not to mention Arizona's largest casino sports book. You got to check it out for yourself. Also, they got all the great food there, from the rooftop restaurants to you just go grab a cocktail and spend some time by the pool. Head to Gila River Resorts and Casinos and let them show you what the next level is all about. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you. Visit playGila.com for more details.
Rapid fire super chats. You guys have been fantastic. Ben Cork moved D-line to the top of the priority list this offseason.
Sure.
I would say
not mad at it.
No, I would say like 1A, 1B, 1C. It's all on the table.
I'm interested to see what happens with Sebastian Joseph Day, if anybody claimed him. I guess we'll find out when waivers are processed on Tuesday.
Tuesday will be the day. After today, and Justin Fields calling the Cardinal defensive line slow as hell. I think that would probably be a good play by Austin Ford. Go pick up Sebastian. Illa Dre, $4.99. Interior O-line and D-line is a big need. We're fortunate to have Kyler with this trash roster. I think Kyler Murray is not the Cardinals' problem, and I think next year he will be their solution, if that makes sense. I think that right now, I think a lot of people wanted and hoped Kyler Murray would come back and kind of save this team. This team can't be saved this year. Is probably the best way I can put it. This franchise needs more help. It's not 1 versus 53. And, for a long time, you could rely on he and DeAndre Hopkins to go out and make plays and to keep games close. They got to start from scratch with a lot of what they do. And that's unfortunate, but again, we're byproduct of the situation we're in. MP, you just keep firing these shots. Love to see it. Back-to-back super chats, $1.99. Caleb hasn't beat one ranked defense this year. I mean, that's understandable. Justin Fields has 10 wins in 3 years. Caleb Williams, Fields is less than Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. Listen, for you, MP, I hope the the Bears get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't see a scenario in which that happens when you have the first overall pick in this draft. Could be wrong, but not happening. Merv busted that couple super chats, $9.99, $4.99. Really big supporter of the program. We thank you, Merv. We also thank everybody checking out GoPHNX.com, becoming a diehard today. Pick up a free hat and or shirt every single year. You're a diehard. Check out the inner workings of our fabulous writing team, including Gerald Bourguet. What the hell are wrong with the Phoenix Suns? Howard Balzer, Jesse Freeman, and more. Check them out. GoPHNX.com. When you become a diehard, get a free hat and or shirt. You also get 20% off the merchandise locker. Hop in to the PHNX Cardinals exclusive member Discord. People are ranting and raving about this day because it's unfortunate that the Cardinals continue to suck. But it's a community, it's a family, and we can spend it together even in our misery. Check us out. GoPHNX.com. Become a diehard today, Bo.
Absolutely. GoPHNX.com. Very thankful, grateful for this entire audience that took the time on a Christmas Eve to hang out with Brittan, Johnny, and myself. Award-winning producer, Damon Dog. For all of them and all of you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Have a great time with your family and friends. We'll talk to you on Tuesday at PHNX Cardinals. Take care.
We all silly like the mayor.